prime time on the top game, it's a fine line. Man in the match, that's David, he's the main guy, keep a close eye. Make sure you don't make no wrong play, cause I'm with Jose and Andre. And when Cyrus comes to walk in, you better know that you are watching Premier League. David, tell what time we on. Prime time. Let me hear you say Premier League. David, tell what time we on. Prime time.
Hello and welcome to Premier League Primetime, and with this, I've decided to start a brand new sort of, I guess you could say, sideshow. It's called Red Forum. Red Forum, where you get all of your best Manchester United talk throughout the week or whatever. And of course, no, it's not Jose, surprisingly, but good friend of mine, my guy, my bro, Drew. How are you doing, my bro? How do you feel to be the first guest on Red Forum?
Oh, wow. First guest. I feel pretty special, actually. I'm doing very well. Honestly, pretty excited to be on here. It's my second ever time doing a live podcast with a fellow United fan.
No, of course, and he's a good one as well. And if you, there actually have been some good things too going with Man United. I know, surprisingly, things actually haven't been horrifically bad for once. And for those who haven't seen it by now, the player released it today. At long last, that contract, long-term deal, Amad Diallo has signed that new deal till terms until 2030. Initial thoughts on it?
Well, that's a Chelsea-type contract for sure. But
Chelsea's more
really,
7 years, my bro.
Oh, yeah. 6, 7, 8, 9 years. Unrealistic. But feel very happy. Honestly, I feel like 99% of the United fan base is relieved that that's done. I think he's the face of the attack for Manchester United for the future, and I'm glad that Ineos finally got the number one priority thing done with out of the way, and that way United fans don't need to stress about any like top club trying to steal him away. So I just feel happy and relieved that he's part of the future now.
No, and it's so clear that he's been our bright spark this season. However, in particular for Amad, this player in particular has had to face so much adversity since he's been at the club, which is why I'm even happier for him. He could have easily just said, "This club has treated me like nothing other than rubbish, and I want to be gone from this place now." And which, if he said that and he left on a free, guess what? Nobody could have said anything to him. Everyone probably could have understood where he's coming from. But he loves the club and he wants to be here. And he is so clear, and he's levels above almost everyone else in this whole team, in this whole football club. It was essential to have him on to time down to a new deal. Jason Wilcox thinks of him very highly, and we all know the types of footballers that Wilcox likes. From Manchester City, so he'll know a thing or two about technical balls. Same with Barada as well. And I think with those two, I'm very, very confident that dealings and transfers and all that going forward, I think might be going in a half decent direction. Do you think Amad's going to be the sort of poster boy for this new era Manchester United after his new deal's been signed?
I mean, he's been a big standout for this season, and everyone has just been gassing up his name in the best way possible because his stats back him up. And every single time he plays, if anyone genuinely looks at his game, watches his games, he's one of the hardest working people or just players on the field. Mm-hmm. I even watched his game against Newcastle back when we lost that game. Mm-hmm. There were literally 4 players on him. Teams recognize how dangerous he is on the field. And if you have four men marking you on the field, you're a threat for the opposing team. And if he's being treated like that, that means that that's got to mean something. That means he's the best player on Manchester United. And honestly, I honestly realistically see that he is the poster boy Manchester United, for the whole team, the whole offense. I won't be surprised if near the future his value will be over 80 million to 100 million, maybe even more. Who knows?
No, I mean we'll definitely see it. And I think the thing about Ahmad is that, for those who are new, for those who are tuning in, offered you suggestions. For those who don't know me, I'm a kind of football supporter that and the football fan who, if there's one thing that I hate personally, it's just basing opinions off of stats. And it's like, watch the footballer play, and a footballer can score a goal, but also then do absolutely nothing for the rest of the game. A footballer could come back and assist and offer absolutely nothing for the rest of the game. But just not only just aesthetically, but when you look at Ahmad and how he affects the rest of the team, like you said in the attack, he was an absolute no-brainer. Not even a no-brainer. It was, you need to do this right now. And for me, I didn't ever have any doubt in my mind that he was going to leave. As a boy, this was a club that he grew up supporting. He wanted to play for this club. I remember from Atalanta, I think he got offers from other clubs. I think Paris Saint-Germain was one of them, and he said absolutely not. This is a club he's always wanted to be here, that he's wanted to be at. This is the club that he wants to make his name, his legacy at. And if he continues going down the way that he does, then I don't see why his value wouldn't skyrocket. I mean, in my opinion, do you think that we have one of the best attackers, ability-wise in the league right now?
To be fair, I think we have, I would say, like top 8. But I mean, obviously our goals for doesn't really back that up. But if you recently looked at the stats that came out recently of chances created, Bruno Fernandes is the top chance creator in the Premier League, so 154. But yet, most of those chances are going to waste because either Haaland's not getting enough service, Xerxes not getting enough service, or they're just not connecting that well up top, and you had to go through 2 managers in one season. So I would say
Haaland's not getting enough service. If Haaland's not getting enough service and Bruno's the lead, if he's the lead chance creator in the league, then surely Haaland would be getting enough service if that's the case.
Or Bruno could just be, I don't know, shooting a lot of stuff and just missing on target or off.
Or it could be what we usually see from Bruno, which is ping a long ball and hope for Rashford to just run in behind. Bruno long ball, just send it long to Garnacho and hope he just runs in behind. And like we said on Novak's, at a certain point, it's only going to be so long until it finally works. But for me, when you look at him, Bruno in particular, for a 90-minute game, almost every single time flatters to deceive or disappoints in a multitude of different areas. But I think a player like Ahmad shows that he's only seen from like half a season now. That for me, he's tech on post, and this guy, footballing wise, for me, he's the most gifted player, along with Kobe, that we've got at the club right now.
Agreed.
I mean, I don't know your thoughts on it, but I think he's the most gifted footballer that we have with Kobe Manu at the club.
I mean, I'd say, like, I'd probably go to link that they're 2 of the most hardest working players on the team that came through our, because Ahmad, I think he started playing for the academy in his first couple of years for Manchester United.
He played for Atalanta.
You could consider him an academy kid, I guess, right?
No, not really. No, I don't consider him academy really, because he didn't really come through the ranks in our academy. The reason why he was playing with our under-21s was because the prior managers were picking players that just simply weren't good enough over the likes of Ahmad Diallo. That was why. That was the exact reason why.
Even if he played some matches for like the U20,
being sent on loan, because there were players ahead of him. Like every man, his wife, his kids, and their pets, all of them, every single one of them were ahead of Ahmad in the pecking order. Every single one of them. So that was mainly the reason why he wasn't getting a look in. But this kid's always had talent, and he's a special player, man. And I genuinely couldn't be happier for him, because I'd say probably more than any player at this club right now, he's genuinely have had to earn his place here.
No, absolutely.
In the most unfair of circumstances. How many managers has both Ollie and that Dutch guy for whatever reason didn't want to play him, especially that last guy who I will not name. Played Pellistri on the occasion, played Anthony, played Garnacho on the right hand side, and started him for 30 games last season. Rashford as well. So no, he absolutely wasted Ahmad. And I think if he was still here, I think Ahmad would have been out the door. I don't think any of us would have. I think everyone would have understood that. But do you think this attack is going to be built around the likes of Ahmad, or do you think that he's that over time? Do you think that he'll eventually be not saying that he's going to get phased out, but he'll go from first name on the team sheet to oh, you don't always have to play every game, but you're good enough to start each and every week, but you're just not going to play every week, sort of thing.
He's a key player for the team already.
Oh, no, 100%. I don't question that.
And honestly, he should be able to start every single week, because he sets the example for what our attack should look like, for how we should be attacking, how we should be pressing. Literally, it's kind of embarrassing for these older veteran players to go to this kid to see what the standard of how you should be playing on the field should be.
I don't want to say just them as well. I mean, even some of the youngsters that again, that the top reds of the fan base, hyped up so much, especially last season, so much, and we know who two of them are, and they get defended all the time. If there's one thing that for the newcomers, if there's one thing that I'm sick of the defenders that are not the defenders. I'm sick of those who always constantly make excuses for the players who just are not good enough, that get defended over and over and over, and then that being sort of a justification for the players who get scapegoated to be scapegoated over and over and over again when they're not even given a half decent look in to the side. It just irritates me. And you said it about our attack. There's plenty of problems with it. And another problem, similar to the Ahmad news, this isn't breaking news at this point, but a story that was released yesterday, early this week, and I genuinely thought that I must have been on something very serious the day before, because I genuinely needed to shake myself awake to make sure I was reading it right. Let's talk about Kobbie Mainoo in particular. The Athletic reported that there's been a stalemate in talks over the new contract that I think back in February, Fabrizio Romano posted something that said that Kobbie is considered untouchable. They're trying to get that new deal all patented out, blah blah blah, and that he's going to be one of the faces of the club. It's almost a year later and he hasn't signed that deal. And rumors suggest that, yes, once again, Chelsea have added him to as a potential option for their midfield depth. I personally think this is just agents at
trying
work.
To make money off of whatever they can.
I think this is just agents, trying to. I think he's using Chelsea because Chelsea have been so relevant in our abysmal transfer dealings for the last couple seasons, to put pressure on the club to give him those better numbers. Because at the end of the day, his agent cares about Kobbie. His agent doesn't care about the state of the football club. His best interest is for Kobbie and nobody else. That's it, really. And Kobe is definitely not the kind of person that would be, unless if the salary offer was so unbelievably criminal, which I don't think it was, especially with under the new with the new board and that. But just give me your thoughts on this whole entire Kobe Mainu madness, you could say.
There's been a range of reports from different sources, different outlets saying that Kobe won't stay at the club unless he's offered a 200K per week salary, which I don't know, seems unrealistic. I mean, he's definitely one of the underpaid players on the team, but with how much like youth he has, I don't think his salary is not yet reached that level yet. But I honestly, with this new ownership that we have, I think honestly anyone is not untouchable, because it just seems like it's a bit unstable at this point with who's leaving and who's not, who's untouchable and who's not untouchable. You can't really you can't really have a assurance of that as a United fan. But honestly, with all of these Chelsea rumors, it just doesn't seem realistic at all for Kobe Mainoo to go to Chelsea, because Chelsea has 50 plus players on their roster. It has the worst morale in the league.
Chelsea's the worst. I don't know if you've seen Chelsea's performances this season and the significant amount of improvement that they have had. Yes, they're having their blips right now, but Chelsea, and I said it from last season, I'd much rather be in Chelsea's place or in Chelsea's position than Man United's position. I said it from last season, because at least you could say with Chelsea, and this is from last season, that they a younger, hungrier, inexperienced squad, but there are still some very, very good players that you could work with. But I didn't know that they were going to go out in the summer and sign players like Jadon Sancho, sign players like, whether you like him or not, João Felix offers quality attacking depth. Yes, Pedro Neto hasn't had the best of times, but we know how good of a player he is. And you look at that midfield, Moises Caicedo, he gets into any team in the league right now. End of. Enzo, who's resurrected from the dead. Lavia, absolute baller in midfield. Even the likes of Andre Santos, Leslie Ukuchukwu, who are both, or Leslie's now actually been able to play at Southampton. Andre Santos has been playing well for Strasbourg. But apart from that, they don't have, but they're both on loan. Apart from that, they don't have midfield depth, really. I mean, unless you count Dewsbury Hall.
They're probably going to get sold because Maresca is not going to be able to fit them into the team on the bench or even in the starting 11.
And I think that
with some Chelsea players,
I'm looking at it objectively. I'm just isolating the two clubs in regards to just how they play, what their systems are. I think Kobe Mainoo suits the way Chelsea plays far better than ours. However, do I think that in Ineos's right mind, especially after what Chelsea have done to us over the past two summers, really, the Mason Mount transfer, which is literally destroyed the wage structure at this club, one of them.
Literally,
and then
Ashworth pay so much money for him.
And then the 60 million pounds, by the way, for a player in the last year of his contract. And then selling Jadon Sancho to a rival for 25 million pounds, thanks to Dan Ashworth. And I had to hear Dan Ashworth say, we're letting Sancho go because we have some great wide, we have great options on the wings. We have Garnacho, we have Anthony, we have Rashford, we have Pellistri. And I'm just like, okay, cool. This guy doesn't have a clue what he's doing. So, and the way Chelsea have been playing this season, it's been a lot more good than bad. A lot more good than bad. You look at where Chelsea are on the table. Yes, they're teetering on the top four and all that, but they've generally have had a very, very good first half of the season. No one can question that. You look at us, and we have somehow gotten even worse. And I think the reason for that is because not only did that manager, he's a huge part of it anyways. All of his signings have been objective failures at the end of the day. From a performance point of view, from an expectations point of view, or even from a financial point of view. And I think that one of the most damning things that you could say about this manager, right, or the old manager, up front, we needed a big presence at centre forward after the first season of Ten Hag. Rumors are Harry Kane was going to be our number one target. Thinking, okay,
Should have got Harry Kane.
no problem. I'm thinking, all right, surely, Harry Kane wants to play in England. We've been linked to him for a long while. It's his last year of his contract. Tottenham have to sell. I'm thinking, okay, we're probably going to bid in around 80, 90 million. Cool. Maybe it will take us a couple more bids, but maybe we get him at the end of the day. We go from Harry Kane to a player who scored 9 goals in all competitions for Atalanta as a rotational striker the summer he was signed, and who coincidentally has the same agency as that former manager does, SEG. And we spent £72 million on that player. A player who took 16 Premier League games to score his first Premier League goal. A player who doesn't really offer anything else if not given service to run in behind. Can't run the channels, can't hold up the ball, doesn't have a good first touch, doesn't have a good way of pass. Haaland doesn't offer anything. And,
Well, he still is a young lad. But you can't bank everything on someone so young that's not Premier League proven.
But Kobbie Mainoo's young, though. Kobbie Mainoo's young, my bro. Like here's the thing. I do notice, right? A lot of the times, when people in general say, "Oh, but this player is young," they usually bring that up because most of the time it's because he's not doing great, really. And I'm not saying I completely believe on that principle, but to a certain extent, you have to, I think it was Sir Alex, I forgot who, but the old saying goes, if you're good enough, you're old enough. Kobbie's good enough. And he's 19 years old. Haaland, and Haaland's not young. Haaland's 22. In football years, that's not incredibly young. Or I think he turns 22 next month.
I'd say past 22, old enough. That's my thinking, at least.
And I think that just, the attack is such a problem. It's such a problem. And with the wages that some of these players have been put on, I think that's a big reason why, players like Kobbie Mainoo haven't been able to agree that new deal because of the wages that some of these players have been put on. Even Casemiro, he's often made a scapegoat, but he's on 300 bags a week. Marcus Rashford, of course, 350 grand a week. Bruno, Dan Ashworth gave him a new contract, 300 grand a week. Mason Mount, 250 grand a week. Luke Shaw, 200 grand a week. Harry Maguire, 190 grand a week. Which, it's not terrible. But Anthony, I think he's in the between 100 and 200 grand a week areas. So just, it's not great. And with their attack, right, it's quite shambolic at the moment. Do you think that there's anything we could do in January to solve this issue?
Hear me out. We need to get rid of some of those players that are on those high wages in order to free up space for these players who deserve to be on those wages. That's my opinion.
I don't think it will happen all in January. However, Marmoush, a player who I like.
January, not all, but I think we'll have most of them gone by the summer for sure.
I don't know, because it will take time. And open heart surgery doesn't happen, at the snap of a finger. It takes time. And I'm not telling us, give him time. But that's unfortunately where we are right now. And the attack, that area for me, needs, I don't know how you'd say it, a deep cleansing, I guess you could say. It needs a complete revamp, a reset, a rebuilding.
You just need to strip it down.
100%. Most of these players who are in that attack don't warrant another season. They don't. Apart from the new signings, and you could say Ahmad and Kobe Mainu. You look at everyone else, and you could say, even the players that you wouldn't get rid of straight away, if good offers came for you, are there better options out there? Yes. If a good offer came in for Onana, is there probably a better, more reliable goalkeeper out there that fits what Amram wants to do? Probably yes. Lissandro, not good enough. Is there other players out there that can fit that back three system better? There absolutely is. Same with Dalot at wing back.
There's some reports saying that Ruben Amorim is looking at, Inacio, who's a center back at Sporting, who fits that system very well.
However, this is the thing, right? And I'm not saying don't get players from Sporting. However, I don't want what happened to us under the other manager. Because you saw what that other manager did. Tried to bring in you try to get an Ajax reunion at Old Trafford. And he gave Ajax half our transfer budget. He gave them over 300 million or something like that. So, at the end of the day,
risky move. But the thing is, with this new system, you have to buy the players who will excel in this type of system, especially under a manager or with players who know what this manager expects of them to do. And you could even look at players maybe from Bayer Leverkusen under Xabi Alonso who play the same system, like Ronaldo or Jeremy Frimpong.
I think most of them will be somewhat expensive, though.
Absolutely, yeah. But I'm just saying, as an example.
No, it's fair. No, I think those are the profiles that we need. No, you're right. In regards to wingbacks, who need attacking wingbacks, because in the system, wingbacks are so important to the attack. So important. 4 at the back and 5 at the back are definitely a bit different. Or 3 at the back, 5 at the back. You need those defenders to be able to defend in wide areas or good on transition, especially those wing backs. They're so important. They almost act as wingers, really. Yes, they need to defend as well, but they almost act as second wingers.
And outside backs at the same time. They're literally running up and down. They're involved in the defense and they're involved in the offense. There's literally not really a time in the game where you can take a break or jog. It's a very
100%.
And that's probably why it's not really going to work with, Malacia. He's just a pure outside back. He's not a wing back.
I don't think Malacia was ever meant to be a starter anyways, though. He was always here to be a backup. And I think as a backup, I think he's technically good enough. I think he's fine to be a backup. I don't have an issue with that. I don't have an issue with it. Assuming that he'll now be able to stay fit, I don't have an issue. This is a player that we signed for 12, 13 million. So if we sell, guess what? We'll make some profit from it anyways. So that's something I don't really mind. If he stays, he stays. Money comes in, offers, he can go. He's one of the two I'm just indifferent on. Because at the end of the day, it's not going to happen in one window.
Yeah.
But of course, we know the financial constraints that are crippling us right now. What do you think that could be attainable in January? And yes, it hurts to see Manchester City on the verge of basically getting a deal done for Omar Marmoush of Frankfurt. Absolute baller.
He is, but
such a good footballer as well.
I don't think that's
can play up front. Can play up front. He can play in the wide 10. That's the kind of player that we need. Has scored goals for fun almost all season long. So, in January, just looking at what's probably out there and available right now, what do you say that we could do or can do?
At this point, it's a little bit of a complex question because obviously I don't think we should go all in for a striker in this window. I think that's more of a summer necessity for us. But looking at what we can do, in my opinion, I think what United need to do is look at people who can play, who are capable of playing in this formation, who can play a wing back system, who's really good at playing, with 3 in the back. I think United needs to look at those types of players, especially those who are reliable on giving consistent service to the offense. And who knows, maybe even get someone who can play left attacking mid, right attacking mid, who can
the 2 inverted 10s.
Exactly, yeah. I think honestly,
they're not really wingers, though.
Those types of positions could be what United.
That left hand side needs strengthening 1,000,000%. We need a left-sided inverted number 10 from the left, and we definitely need a natural left-footed full wing back. Hearing a lot of Nuno Mensch, I rate him very highly. However,
or even Milos Kerkez from Bournemouth. I rate him so much.
He's brilliant. He's cold.
I have watched his games for the past couple of weeks.
Brilliant.
He is the ideal wing back on the left.
I think he plays in that wing back role for Hungary as well. He's very good going forward. Technically very competent.
Mm-hmm.
And even if we don't get the 60 million, right now, what we need players right now that can help us get to the next level. Which, I don't know if it was you or if I was saying it to someone else. But I mean, just almost not even almost. Every single Premier League club has at least one player that can go straight into the Man United team and instantly improve it. Can you give me any Premier League club? Anyone off the top of your head?
Let's say like someone from Aston Villa.
Anyone from Villa. Boubacar Kamara straight away. There's one.
What about Morgan Rogers?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's another player. Give me another Premier League club. Any club. And
what about
Ipswich
Town?
Liam Delap. A million times around Hoyland. And more Clinton.
He played really well against Fulham, so he could be good up top.
He's such a good player.
Natural.
He's the archetype. You see, it's the archetype sort of like he's like the perfect sort of like mold of a number 9 now. He's big, he's strong as well. He's very good in the air. He's very physical, but also he's very, very technical as well. He can strike a ball with both feet. He's good in the air, ruthless in front of goal. And I think he may sit on Novak's football, but I've told man here, I've told my mates as well. I have a feeling that this kid is going to be the long-term headlining or main, or I guess you could say the face of the England attack, the star center forward, post Harry Kane. I think it's him. In the long-term future, I think it's him. I don't think it's Tony as much as I am a fan of his, and it's not going to be Ollie Watkins either.
You're done with international football.
Huh?
I think if you play in Saudi, I think you're done with international.
What does that mean, though? What are you saying? Just because there's players playing in Saudi, that means they aren't good at football?
Well, no, I'm saying that like the Saudi league doesn't really attract that much international recognition, because international teams are going to be looking for players who play in the top 5 leagues in Europe.
No, yeah, definitely. But the reason why Tony went there, I don't know if you know, but Tony was assuming that he was going to go to somewhere in England. The Brentford board came out and said that no team in the Premier League made any sort of official offer for him. No team went in for him except for a team in Saudi. Nobody. And the club are already looking to move on. He was already looking to move on because he was assuming he was just going to go to a team in the Premier League. But by the time that news came about, he was just too far out the door to kind of stay back. So that's why he went to Saudi at the end of the day.
Surprised United or Arsenal didn't even look at him.
I screamed for Ivan Toney last summer. But we signed Xerxes instead, which, I said, look, I don't know a lot about the kid, but, from the few bits that I've seen, he seems very technical. And, any technical baller, every single time will have my initial support, rather than these pace and power merchants that I'm just so sick of seeing. So at least you're the right kind of or my kind of footballer. And with the Xerxes thing,
there are a lot of reports saying that he's going to go to Juventus and that he's already.
I don't think he'll go. I think he's staying. I think he's going nowhere. He's a very popular figure in the dressing room. He's very well liked. I can imagine the players don't want him to go, with all the reports that he's a very likable, popular guy in the dressing room. You see in all the Man United like videos that they release with the players, it's always him and De Ligt having the Dutch banter thing and all of that. So he's definitely very well liked throughout the club as he had a tough time. The start of his United career, yes, he definitely has. Has he been good enough? No, he absolutely has not been good enough. However, like I said on Novak's, how many times has Xerxes been given 6, 7 Premier League games to start in a row? How many? He probably hasn't even played 18 games for this football club. Rasmus only got 18 Premier League games to start, which he played 90 minutes in almost all of them.
Xerxes has done the majority of his starts in the Europa League, but hasn't really done anything. Especially, for example, in the game against Victoria, did nothing that whole entire game. As soon as he comes off, Haaland gets a brace. That just decreases his ratings at the club, and I'm just afraid that he's going to say yes to some other club in this January transfer window, and that United fans will just brush it off like it's nothing.
If Xerxes leaves, no one can fault him, because the treatment of this player has been absolutely disgusting, in my opinion.
Actually, when he got booed coming off at Newcastle,
when
we shouldn't be treating our players that way, especially on home field.
But however, this is a player that's he's a young G. He's not even been here at the club for now he's just been here for around 6 months now. And the kid was being played as a left-sided number 10. Just because he's technical and good on the ball doesn't mean that you play him in the 10. You don't play Harry Kane in the 10, do you? No, you play him in the 9. You play him up front. Xerxes on a 10. He's a striker. You play him up front. So why he was played there, I don't know. When really, Rasmus Haaland stinks out the place every single week. Every single week. So if Xerxes was the one getting 18 Premier League games in a row, and he still wasn't scoring, then fine, fair enough, I can hear it. But give the kid at least a bigger number of chances than what he's gotten.
That's fair. Honestly, I feel like he shouldn't be. I feel like he shouldn't be sold this transfer window. I feel like that would be the fastest ever.
Yeah, why would you?
Sold in United history. Just 6 months.
This is the player that we just brought in.
Well, what do they expect from this kid? A hat trick every game?
If you're going to sell a striker, sell Haaland instead. Sell him off. Keep Xerxes, sell Haaland off. Especially I'm seeing the links with Osimhen, Kolomwani. What are your thoughts on those links?
It's an absolute no for Kolomwani. If PSG want him out, why should we take him? And with Victor Osimhen, he's currently on loan at Galatasaray. I rate him even more than Kolomwani. But there's also even reports too of a potential swap deal with Juventus with
Vlahovic.
Yeah,
I mean Vlahovic for
Vlahovic.
Xerxes, and you know why Juventus want Xerxes. You want to know why Juve want Xerxes?
Because he excels in the Serie A. He literally
not just because he excels in the Serie A. It's not just because of that. The manager who fired Bologna into the Champions League and not only him, but the main person who helped with that and scored them the goals and also won Serie A Young Player of the Year was Joshua Xerxes. He and Thiago Motta fired them into the Champions League. Everyone seems to forget that this player was a Young Player of the Year at Serie A. And it's not like Haaland where he's inner rotating all that. And it's not like he's playing for one of the top teams. He's playing for flipping Bologna, bro. Bologna.
Thiago Motta
they're in the Champions League because of this guy. Imagine putting and you think about this, right? Xerxes cooked for that Bologna side, and I don't know who the attackers had around him. But imagine instead of that, imagine putting Conceição, Kenan Yildiz, players of that top level around Xerxes. The kid's going to score even more goals. So no, there's a reason why Juventus want him. There's a reason why Thiago Motta in particular wants him, and they're willing to give Vlahovic the other way. It shows that the manager is using Vlahovic because he's there and he's the number 9. And really, Vlahovic isn't going to be the biggest of priorities to get rid of. But Vlahovic isn't like the Thiago Motta kind of striker. He's definitely not. Joshua Zirkzee a million times is. So let's not only take into context, but look at things that had happened before and put the pieces of the puzzle together. Would Vlahovic be an improvement on Haaland? Yeah, he absolutely would be. Of course he would be. Matt, you'd be an improvement on Haaland if you played up front. So
yeah, he definitely has a big presence up top, that's for sure. I mean, you saw it at Fiorentina and in his first season at Juventus. That's a sensational striker.
No, he's a good striker. He's a good striker. However, I think at times he'll just ghost and he'll go missing for a long while. That's not the kind of striker that I want. And as for Colomwani, that's a player that I don't rate whatsoever.
Neither.
However, if you get rid of Rashford and there's nothing at all, because regardless of what we think of Rashford, we lose one less body in the attack. If we can't get anyone in, to have Colomwani just there as a left-sided player there.
I don't know if you've heard of the recent reports yet, but I cannot pronounce this guy's name to save my life. Ivica Kvaratskhelia from Napoli.
Oh, I think you actually did that right, yeah.
He wants to leave Napoli, like ASAP. And PSG are looking at this winger. If Rashford leaves, he's the guy to get.
Ivica Kvaratskhelia is for me, my dream target at the left side of number 10. He is the guy. The guy. This guy is an absolutely sensational player. Honestly.
He's a baller. And I think he's still young. He's like 23, 24.
Absolute baller. Tech on toast. This guy is absolutely incredible. And unfortunately for us, I'm seeing that we're linked with them. I see us being linked with more the right players than the wrong players, which is a good thing. Because under the last manager, we'd always been linked with more wrong players than right players. However, if we're really as desperate for funds as we are now, it's not hoping else shots. And also, if you think about it, right? Napoli are notoriously difficult to negotiate with. Notoriously difficult to negotiate with. They are awful to negotiate with.
How so?
Terrible, terrible, terrible. So if we think about it, in the middle of the campaign, I'll be stunned if they let him go. And you know who Napoli's manager is. You know who coaches Napoli. And you know if something doesn't go his way, you know he's going to have a fuss and he's going to moan about it. So I'm just going to say that right now. Yeah, I don't know if I see this happening unless a stupid amount of money comes in for him. So I don't know. It will be interesting. As for PSG, would he fit there? Probably.
I mean, who plays on those wings? Ousmane Dembele on the right.
I don't rate Dembele.
Lee on the left, I think, or Asensio.
Barcola's been
that's right
for them, but even as a footballer, I don't particularly rate him all that highly. But he's been getting a ton of GNA, so I guess credit to him. Apart from that, in those wide areas, that South Korean is cold, but he just doesn't really play. Lee Kang, I think that's his name. Who else do they have? Desiree Doué, I think he's there as well. So, I mean, they have options, but they aren't, they don't wow you. I mean, Barcola's. If Barcola's the player that's giving you the wow factor every week, then yeah, I could definitely see them in front of the winger. I'm surprised they didn't go in for Rashford, but if we can get him off the books, or at least with an obligation to buy, like we did with the Sancho thing, if it's gonna be a loan, I hope it's like a loan with an obligation to buy. Like they have to take him at the end of the year. Even if it's for, 25 mil, 30 mil.
Could be a decent buy for them for sure. I mean, they can afford it. They could probably even pay more if we negotiated well.
I don't think that that PSG really want him now. But honestly, I don't care where he goes. I don't care where he goes at the end of the day.
It's looking like
Really.
he's most likely going to go to Serie A. I think he would excel.
If he goes to Milan, cool. Rafael Leao isn't having the best of times there right now. So yeah, he can compete for that spot.
Because Pulisic plays on the right wing, I think, for that team.
He's been nowhere near as good as Pulisic this season. Absolutely not. He's nowhere near as good as Reinders either. But I mean, I don't know, man.
Abraham and Morata are doing pretty good up top.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like he's gonna play in that striker role. He's definitely gonna play on the winger role.
And who would you say, or what players would you say as of right now, if we were to get some players in January, whether it's a loan deal or permanent transfer, what would you look to do? Assuming that we're able to move Rashford out, hopefully we can move Casemiro out as well. As much as I like the player, he needs to go. The wages are just too much.
I mean, I did hear a rumor. I think it's very far-fetched and not really true, but apparently Al Nassr is looking at him, offering him $650,000
I believe it.
a week. So.
I definitely believe it. You know what? Because I've heard this rumor. We heard this rumor last summer. We heard this rumor even leading up to last summer. So I feel like this definitely has some legs in it. 100%. This definitely has some legs in there. So, I don't think it's entirely impossible to see him one
together again. We have them winning all the Saudi Arabia trophies.
So, I mean, you can get a little like what, 15, 20 mil for Casemiro. Take it.
Just get him out of the club, man. Just get him out of the club. Whatever the price is, just get him out.
It's not that I have a particular problem with him as a footballer, because as a footballer, we all know the qualities that he's got. Is he getting old? Yes. Is he going to slow down? Yes. He's not going to be the cast of 2017. He's not. But what I won't stand for whatsoever is having to hear him, especially even last season as well, the amount of scapegoating this player received. And I think I said on Novak's, Casemiro didn't win all those Champions Leagues for nothing. And it's not like he was a bit part player. No. He was in that midfield, that legendary midfield of Modric, Kroos, and Kass. He didn't win those Champions Leagues to play alongside Mason Mount and Scott McTominay and get branded as the problem at Manchester United for the midfield issues. He did not. He absolutely did not. So it's not really him as a player. The age and the wages is the main reason. So he's got to go, and he hasn't performed either. But if there's any deal that you think that we could do this January, what would it be?
It would have to be the left wing back position. It seems like that's the likelier position that we're going to be signing. Fabrizio had a lot of support on
many options there as well. There are many options.
Yeah, I think it has to be the wing backs. It has to be the wing backs.
You could argue and say we need a new right wing back as well.
Honestly, I think so. It's not like Mazraoui is going to be playing week in, week out on that side, because I don't think he's ever played wing back before in his life.
No, I think he has. But Mazraoui is one of our best players when we had him in at the three at the back, which is not a Mazraoui issue, because Mazraoui's been one of our best players this season. Let's not forget, right?
But it's like you need to have at least like some options.
No, of course you do. Of course you do.
A lot out of you with that position.
Mazraoui is perfect. He's perfect for Man United. He can be squad player. He can rotate. That's what you should be here for. But he's clear ahead of everyone else right now.
Agreed.
But if you were to say a left wing back, who would you sign?
If it was a left wing back, I want us to sign Milos Kerkez.
I heard 40 mil from Bournemouth as of right now.
bet you would cost
probably more.
I think Bournemouth want more.
They probably will. Probably 50 upwards for him by the end of the season. I don't think he's going anywhere as of right now. But
I mean, Liverpool are looking at him too.
There's also Nuri of Wolves, who I rate highly. You have Anthony Robinson from
Anthony
Fulham.
Robinson is getting a lot of interest from so many clubs.
Yeah,
especially the ones in the Premier League.
We should be one of them.
I rate him too. He would be a good sign.
Be one of them.
Back.
We should be one of those clubs interested in Anthony Robinson. Absolutely. Nuri. There's another one.
Ronaldo from Bayer Leverkusen. Ideal.
A player like that. Although I do think that Bayer Leverkusen, there's going to be that Bayer Leverkusen tax that's placed on any player that leaves. So I'd probably say kind of stay away from that. I'd stay away from the Leverkusens. I'd say look for players in the Premier League. Sign players that are Premier League proven. Because if you do, the whole, they need a settling period. Maybe to the team, but not to the league. We should look for players that
already
know about the Premier League.
The toughness, the physicality, and the demand of the Premier League.
No, I think that we need players that can just play in this league and that also know how to play in difficult moments. Liam Delap is why for me he's my top target for a striker. That's why.
It's a good take.
Because this kid offers everything in the way he plays. And you don't need to know or see that he got on the stat sheet to know that he's a good player. Just watch the kid play. Tyler Dibbling of Southampton, 20 million. Improves the 10s area straight away. He can compete, rotate with Ahmad. Bring him in.
Dibbling can easily bring him on the field. He can take people anytime, one-on-one, and beat them down.
Very good technically. Bring him in. Sign him up all day. I mean, there are players out there for each and every position that we need, especially in central midfield.
Especially the young players, the young and upcoming players. Bring it back to the old days.
No. If there's one thing I don't want to see, I don't want us to just play youth players for the sake of playing youth players. Play the youth players that are actually good enough and deserving enough to be here. If not, send the other youth players out on loan. Send them on loan to see what they're made of. Send them to the championship. The championship's not an easy league. It's not. It's one of the most difficult leagues to play in the world, my bro. It's not easy. It's very difficult to play there.
That's literally where Ahmad excelled with Sunderland.
There you go.
Where is that now?
There you go. Proving my point. So, with the likes of, everyone's like, oh, play Toby Collier and all that. Send Toby Collier on loan to, I don't know, like
Middlesbrough.
Like a club, I don't know, next season, if you're not going to send him out on loan now to a championship club, send him to like a Leeds or something that gets promoted. Send him there. Send him to a lower level Premier League club or to a championship side where he can play every week. Even better if it's a Premier League club if he's playing every week, because he'll gain that Premier League experience. But like I said, I don't want us to just be playing youth players just for the sake of, we bring players through from the academy, all that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We need to bring the ones who are already established on their team. Like isn't Tyler Dibbling just playing it week in, week out for Southampton on the wing right now?
Because he's good enough to be there.
Exactly.
He's got
just
talent.
Like back in the days when Wayne Rooney, an 18-year-old Wayne Rooney, was playing on Everton. Sir Alex saw talent in him, signed him.
16-year-old Wayne Rooney who burst onto the scene. But yeah, there you go. We forget. And Waza played in a far more difficult era of football. Let's not forget that now. The time that Waza came through, he was growing up and playing in a very, very, very difficult era of footballer. Very difficult. If that Waza was just coming through now, Ballon d'Or contending straight away, immediately. He'd arguably be the best striker in the world right now. If that Waza was playing right now, so
it's a good take.
And no, you prove a point. And like I said again, if you're good enough, you're old enough. Anything else to say on the transfer window before we move to like the last sort of a section of the live?
No, I mean I've said why I think United need to focus on this transfer window.
Mm-hmm.
I think the solution is just the wing backs and just the ones who are ready to play for United and in the system under Ruben Amorim.
No, 100%. And looking ahead, briefly looking ahead to Arsenal, what do you expect us to do? How to set up and all that?
It's not going to be an easy game, that's for sure. I mean, Arsenal just lost against Newcastle, so they're definitely going to get fired up for this game.
Well, I mean, they drew to Brighton, and we thought they were going to get fired up against Newcastle, and they didn't.
Probably this game was a wake-up call. You never really know with Arsenal these days. 2 games, maybe they play their worst of the season, and then the next game they score 5-6 goals. But
Fair.
we just need to play the same like we did at Liverpool. We need
no, I think so. No, I agree with that. We need to actually finish our damn chances, which I know with that striker up front we're not going to. Because everyone complains about the service. He gets a clean chance in on goal, 1-on-1 against Alisson, bottles it. So, the whole saw that he doesn't get service is a myth. What do you expect from the Arsenal game? Just from I don't know, let's say like starting 11 wise. I'll briefly run through who would you want the manager to start?
Thing is, Saliba and Gabriel are going to be 2 big, tough center backs. I don't think Xerxes will be able to get past them or work around them. I think Haaland's going to be starting to handle their physicality.
Haaland gets dropped to the floor instantly. This guy's got no core strength. Xerxes, if there's one thing that Xerxes has,
at least
the physical, Xerxes got a bit of physicality about him. He's not skinny and limp. Pause. You see that he actually has something about him. He can bully defenders when he wants to. When you look at the general physique of this player, so I'd say if you're talking about strength, then yeah, Haaland wouldn't be the guy for that. But do I think the manager probably will go with him? Unfortunately, I think he probably will.
In my opinion, I think that'd be the good option against 2 big defenders.
Mm-hmm.
He can draw fouls, and maybe he might not be the best at ball work, but he can at least handle that physicality up top.
Okay. What about for the rest of the side?
Especially since it's a big game. Since it's a big game against Arsenal, I think you gotta start the majority of your best players, especially the ones who play very well against Liverpool. I don't see how Amorim can drop the same side or try to keep experimenting or tweak things. You got to start Ahmad on the right if you want to get some productivity up top, or on the right attacking, and then you got to start Bruno. You got to create some chances up top. He played very well against Liverpool, so I expect him to have the same effort. I mean, that's what he even said in the interview in Liverpool. Like we gotta maintain the same level of momentum and effort in every game.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta keep Ugarte and Mainu in the middle.
Okay.
Mazraoui and Dalot, probably one of the best games they had against Liverpool all season long. Yeah. Hopefully that
we also just don't have any other options here.
Yeah, that's facts too. I mean, it's not like you're gonna drag Malacia in the starting 11. I don't think he's that. I think he did start like that last game against Arsenal, correct? At the Emirates in the Premier League.
Who? Malacia.
Was he in that starting 11? I think he was.
Oh no, yeah, you're right. He was. He literally, yeah, he got poor Malacia just got thrown he got thrown straight into the deep end. He got thrown straight into the sharks of being thrown against Saka, which he done surprisingly well. So,
Saka
credit
won't
to
even
him.
But yep, same wing backs as always. I would make one change though, even though Lisandro Martinez did have a really good game against Liverpool.
Mhm.
I'd say drop him, put Lenny Euro in. You got to have bodies in order to defend those set pieces against Arsenal.
Okay. Lastly, score predictions before we end it.
If they can play to their strengths, I see us winning by 1 goal either. I'm going to go with 2-1.
And there you have it. You've heard it from Drew. And also, this also marks the end of the first Reddit forum. Let us know down in the comments below what you think. Let us know in the chat as well. If you want to see more of my guy Drew every single time, big up. Where can they find you? Besides Novak's football, of course.
Oh, yeah. You can find me at Drew Brown for TikTok and Instagram. If you want to see content, regular United content, or just see a United fan suffer from bad results from his team, then just give it a follow. It'll make your day even better.
Oh, my days. And there you have it. And we'll see you in the next one.